And I wrote something yesterday, and I think it's important. I'd like to begin with this: is that my mom has been dead for 2/3 of my life, uh, and it's one of those things that I'm trying to talk to my daughters about, trying to talk to people about just and yet it's a rare day goes by that I don't think about my mother and my father, and I think there's so so much of my vision of what I'm trying to do in training and nutrition and recovery is I want to dance at my granddaughter Josephine's wedding. I was with her last night, and um she's an interest, she's a little girl, and and I I I I think that sometimes if you have a serious discussion sometimes about longevity, it talking about longevity clarifies so many of the other issues we have. And in this is called the Health Oddity podcast. Well, health is one of those pillars that leads to longevity, and so one of the things I'm trying to do, I have a new book coming out very soon called the Easy Strength Omni book. I'm at 350 pages in a Word document. Now that doesn't include introduction, doesn't include index, it doesn't include preface, it doesn't include the legal stuff, it doesn't. So I mean, my thought is, we're going to be, the book will be, you just pick the book up and that's your workout. Just carrying the book is all you need for your workout. Just put it in a backpack, and but when I think about, somebody asked me what I'm going to do after, and I'm like, well, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do something else that gets me out of bed in the morning. I'm going to find other things that makes me, pop up and get going, because to me, that's where I want to be. So let's just make sure gentle listeners are following what I'm saying. Um, I've gone through a lot of personal issues in the last couple of years. I have, but at the same time, I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build my systems up so that I'm around here long, another 20 years or so at least. It is strange, I do have. So I've had to do all of that legal stuff that happens when you turn 65, and all those little things. And it's like, and I tell you, when you're filling out your Medicare card, your Social Security information, it is a there is a boom, 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 boom. There is a drum beat that you have more yesterdays than tomorrows. And every time you fill out one of those forms, on the form it says, you are going to die sooner than you think. Oh, okay, thank you, sir. Check, to check the box. But what it's also done for me is and to be completely honest, it's unpacked for me these things I want to make sure I take care of. Fortunately, because of my career, I've seen the places I wanted to see on the planet Earth. Fortunately, because of my career, I've had experiences that I cherish, and now I'm in a place where I really want to make sure I leave the lessons I've learned in strength and conditioning, and leave them in a place that's easy to be found, versus on this bizarre little computer I have I'm talking to right now. So life is good. I competed while I was there at St. Mary's. My lifts weren't what I wanted them to be, but that's okay. I came home and my coach yelled at me for not taking a lighter third attempt in the snatch and instead I tried to go really heavy. And so Dave and I had an interesting conversation. I'm in a quiet time training right now after I lifted a meet. So I think you should train up to a competition, and then after, be real smart after, so general bodybuilding, general mobility work, go for longer walks, less rucking, more walking. Does that make sense? Turn the engine down a little bit, more saunas, more meditations. And then when I find a meet on the horizon, I'll start cranking it back up. I'm a big believer, I believe in, my favorite way to train people is seasonally, fall, winter, spring, summer. But that doesn't always work perfectly. But I still think there's a time to rise up. And then after you do something like that, it doesn't have to be a weightlifting meet, gentle listener. It can be a 5K fundraising walk. And then after that, ease up, turn the engine down a little bit, and then rise back up. I think one of the mistakes we make in our field, and I think and it really comes from the people who push body composition. Interesting. I'll be a little snarky here if you don't mind, but there's a guy who always posts his pictures online. He's always ripped and he's always this, and he's got the shit. I mean, sorry, he's got,
yes, sorry about that.
Yeah, which please, he's always shaved. He's always, well, I get down to this workshop and I meet this guy, and he's also a thief he's an information thief. He pretends like he's invented stuff. He never references anybody else's work, which drives me crazy. And if you know my work, you know that I'm constantly reflecting others. Well, he's the color of my computer. He's ashen. He's in real life. He's ashen. He's gray. He looks, that weird bloated look that the guys who use those GHs and stuff have. And he doesn't look very good. And I thought to myself, but he's one of those guys online who's always saying you should, he's always doing, he must have gotten 300,000 pictures taken on one day, and he shares them every single day. And that's, and I worry about that social media, that I think they're called influencers. They're taking over our industry. And it's this idea that you always have to look bikini beach ready every single day. And if you don't flash 8-pack abs, and if you can't see every vein, and you're not shredded, ripped, and I feel bad for the females because they have to be buxom and shredded at the same time, which we know is not possible. And the guys, and I'm trying to tell people is that life waves in and out. Life has seasons. Life is cyclical. And the idea is train up, ease off, train up, ease off, and have a life. If Michael Bublé is playing 200 meters from your home, you sit in your backyard with a Chardonnay and you enjoy the concert. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody here.
I actually saw Michael Bublé live at the O2. I paid good money for that, Pete, and it was brilliant. It was really, really good. So yeah, I think take Dan's advice. Sit in the
I will do. The people at Bath might not agree though, because he has shut down the entire park for 2 weeks. Anyway, that's by the by.
So yeah, I think what you're saying, Dan, and I think again, I find myself reflecting a lot, and I'm 44 this year. And my father sort of passed away a couple of years ago, and I've got 2 children now, and you can't help but kind of reflect on life and the whole package of life, can you? And the way that training it's a part of life, but it's not life, is it? And some people who run away with the idea that life is for training and training is for life, and that's all there is to life. I think one of the quotes that I remember you saying years and years ago was, if you've got an incredible body or something, but your kids hate you, then you've got to question where you've been spending your life and your priorities and all the rest of it. So I think that, and certainly from your perspective now in your 60s, reflecting on things, like you say, life's finite, isn't it? And you can get bogged down in thinking about things quite heavily, but the days do keep passing, and it's how you choose to spend that time, isn't it?
Did you see the post that Coach Fury put up yesterday? So friend of the show, Steve Holliner.
Yes.
Yeah. He's in Brooklyn, and he runs the Speakeasy of Strength, a little studio in Brooklyn.
Great.
And he's got he says like it's an inclusive gym. So, and he was talking about how Instagram's full of like, these ripped.
What's an inclusive gym?
Well, as in it's as in the people who go there don't have to necessarily get in shape. They just go along and work out and do things. There's no body image or anything like that.
It's a very positive place. Yeah, he's very good at that. Yeah.
So he took his top off. He's 50 this year. He took his top off and he's got a bit soft. He's a bit flabby, and he's like, this is not really necessarily what Instagram wants and all that. But then he said he had 2 40-kilo bells. He just cleaned them up, pressed them above his head, put them back down. And he said, I can still do that. So my strength is there. So the fact that I don't look the part doesn't matter. And he goes, that's what this gym's about, and that's what Instagram should be about, and all of that. And it was just a really honest post. And he said it was really uncomfortable for him to do, but I thought it was great. And it's one of those things about, like, you know, you can be healthy without having a six-pack. I mean, even in fact, having a six-pack probably isn't necessarily that healthy if you're that
really not practical most of the time.
Yeah,
I mean, whenever
exactly.
I have to do it, it's just so much work. It just becomes the main goal.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's never that fun, you know?
And maybe there's a reason to do that. I mean, for example, there might be a wedding, a reunion, a thing where you want to look your best because of, you know, it's going to be one of those, you know, line in the sand, a lot of photo. And again, at a wedding, if someone's showing off their six-pack abs, we have to have another conversation.